are listening to Bearcat Insider with everybody's favorite assistant coach, Travis Marsh, and I'm Chance Kirby. Now to the show.
Hey everybody, welcome to Bearcat Insider Ponder Edition. This is Coach Travis Marsh, and I'm here with, world traveler. Nighttime driver.
Not so good at that.
Chance Kirby, who has just returned from a quick bye-week trip to out of state, and happy to have you here, man.
Happy to be here. You know, this is the first time we've had a what do we want to call this? A winning cast? I mean, this is always an award-winning cast.
Yeah, I mean,
this is the first time we've had a post-game win cast since August.
Yeah, and
bad September.
We had, a little bit of delay because we had our own bye week. Bearcat Insider won the bye week, I feel like.
Well, like coaches, we want to keep things on a schedule.
Yeah.
And so doing the cast last week's no good because there's not a game. So
yeah,
here we are.
Yeah, absolutely. And so lots to talk about following a scintillating 53-50 victory over the Ponder Lions.
Scintillating. Awesome.
Spoiler of homecoming. Bearcats were crowned king in Ponder, America.
Yeah. And the Bearcats are the king of the jungle.
That jungle.
Yeah.
So, it was a great game. It was an exciting game to be a part of on the sideline. I've heard multiple people talk about how exciting it was to watch online.
The numbers say so.
And so, I can't wait to hear what you have to say.
Well, first of all, let me start with you. I have a script here, and I'm literally going off script immediately based on what you just said.
We're 2 minutes in,
and I know this is very old man, stay off my lawn chance here. You're just talking about what a great game that was. I hate that type of football. Football, to me, requires a little bit of defense. That's arena football is what we watched, and there's a reason nobody likes arena football, and it's because whoever has the ball last scores, or you make one mistake, and then I don't know. Tell me why I'm wrong. Is that the way it's going? I hope not.
It's a combination of things. Ponder pushes the pace, which we all witnessed. And Ponder does this combination thing of pushing the pace, which maximizes their snaps, and then playing no defense, which means that the point totals just astronomically rise.
And I know it's not the Ponder.
And I say that Ponder doesn't play defense.
We didn't either. If you're going to look at the score, we played 3 points better than they did.
We played 3 points better than they did, which is a great problem.
Yes, that's the side of it I want to be on. And I know this isn't the Ponder Pride post-game cast, which we'd be good at it. Don't get me wrong. They did have one, but
could you imagine how frustrated you'd be having to talk about that every week?
I don't know. It's intriguing. Okay, but anyway, if I was sitting over there wearing my red, that would drive me crazy every week. It just would make me insane.
This is what's going to happen. You're looking at we witnessed last Friday that we played a game, a statistical anomaly.
Oh, it's on my sheet. It's on my sheet here.
Oh, well, great.
Yeah,
we're going to jump ahead
to it. But yeah,
they're going to average over 50 points a game and have a losing record.
And
that is insane.
That proves to me, because I'm tailoring this argument to fit what I want to say.
Of course.
My mouse isn't working, darn it. But anyway, that's why it doesn't work from where I'm sitting. And even if they would have beat us, which we're going to get into this later, I think it would have been you think it was an exciting game now. Had they let us score, I think it would have been a hell of a lot more exciting game. And even if they would have won, I'm still looking at you saying, from a Ponder fan, which I'm not, I don't like that style.
It's boom or bust. It's hit or miss. It adds a different kind of stress, a different level of stress than an offense that you would prefer. Instead of stressing out on if I can score 14 points to beat you, you have to stress out about if I can score 50 to beat you.
That's why I'm laughing, because you know what kind of offense I prefer.
Yeah, and so I'm just glad that we won.
Yeah, and I didn't mean to get off course, but I'm glad we don't do that. And I understand the way that they present that. You get drug into playing that. They force you out of your game the way they do that, and it worked.
Well,
it did.
Coach Cooper, he came to Kyle Cooper as the head coach there at Ponder, which I'm not going to speak for him because this is not based off of anything other than an outsider looking over there across the pond.
Well, you do know Art Briles, though, and I know we're about to bring him up.
He came from Mount Vernon, where he worked under Art Briles, who I think the whole equation got a little messed up in translation between Mount Vernon and Ponder.
What's Art Briles ever done? I'm just kidding.
Well, more than we probably want to talk about, actually. But, whenever Coach Briles was at Baylor, it was up-tempo. It was snapping the ball under 10 seconds between each snap. Baylor led the nation in rushing 2 consecutive years while they were doing that. Somewhere in the equation, Coach Cooper left out the whole running game part.
Yeah, and
the running game can't be dependent on a scrambling quarterback.
I mean, and I know I don't know football or coach football, so don't say it. I'm going to say it for you.
Oh, you disarm me every time.
I know, I try. Isn't that part of what should make the passing and that attack work better, is by being able to offset it with the run occasionally? And wouldn't it, because when you do run, I would think it'd be like, oh my God, they just ran. Like we'll get to later, the one run I do remember them having that went for just 7 yards short of the end zone, and then before you know it, we have the ball. But I'm just saying,
why do it?
It surprised us.
Yeah, no, and I think if you talk to most any offensive coordinator, they would strive for balance.
Careful, because when you talk about balance and I bring it up, you tell me how I get focused on it being balanced.
Well, no, you strive for it.
The game.
You strive for it.
Okay.
But that's a utopian idea that it's only attainable if you focus on it. However, you have to understand that there's going to be games where you might throw the ball 15 times and run the ball 45 because they're not stopping the run, so why pass? And then there's going to be games where you throw the ball 45 times and you run it 15 times because your inability to run the ball forces you to pass the ball. But in a perfect world, in a perfect setting, most offensive coordinators would say they're going to strive for 50-50, but you're usually going to end up with about a 60%, 40%, tipping one way or the other, just depending on what you're good at and what your opponent is willing to give up. We didn't see anything close to those numbers from the Lions.
No, and like I said, we can go ahead and
I think that ultimately cost them.
Oh, I do too. Because you and I argue about time of possession all the time, and in me oversimplifying it, had they slowed it down a little bit, we wouldn't have had as much time on the back end.
Yeah.
Well, I liked what we did, though. When you gave us the ball, pilot point, for once, yes, old man Chance with TOP guy. It's like, we're going to score with 5 seconds left. I'd have preferred 1 so we didn't have to kick off. But I understand that you wanted to fumble the snap.
We'll explain. We'll get to that.
But I loved the fact that we're like, you know what? We're going to go down here and we're going to win this game, or we're going to go to overtime without you having a chance to score.
With a week extra between game and cast like we would normally do, I would have a more accurate number. I do not know exactly how much time was on the clock whenever we had got the final possession.
I want to say it was 4 or 5 minutes.
Typically what you want in a popular term, if you watch broadcasts of NFL games and things like that, is a 4-minute offense. And the 4-minute offense is built to waste that last 4 minutes of the game. It's not like the last 2 minutes where you're just trying to not fumble, not turn the ball over. With a 4-minute offense, you're trying to roll down the field and you want to keep possession and convert first down so that you can keep on trucking. And, of course, it was very important for us because it was a tie ball game. So it wasn't just a waste the clock and don't give them the ball back. It was we had to put together a drive to go take the lead.
That's why I think it was advantage us.
Yeah.
Worst case scenario, we go to overtime.
Yeah.
I mean,
worst case scenario would be we throw an interception or fumble and they return it and we lose.
Yeah, Debbie Downer. I
Well,
didn't
I'm
mean
just
to go
saying.
that far. I'm assuming we're controlling our own
Right. No,
destiny.
You're right about that. Yeah, and if you want to talk about that last drive, I kind of agree with what you and I talked about almost immediately after the game or the next day is why didn't they just let us score?
When you back to now I'm Ponder post gaming again.
Great.
When your strength and no one questions it is how quickly you can score, then I would have been like, yeah, here, go ahead, guys. You score, because then we're going to go down there and score, and
we
we're going to
don't
get
care about
two,
defense
and then
anyway.
we're gonna win.
And that's the thing that missed me is they obviously don't care about defense.
Well, I think that's harsh. Let's say it's not a priority. It's the same thing, but it sounds less insulting.
Out of the three phases of the game, defense is third.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Although I did see him punt. Anyway, sorry, it's Bearcat post
But
game.
yet, that's what they're going to hang their hat on to try to win the game as a defensive stand.
Yeah, it didn't make sense to me.
I mean, I'm all for a great defensive stand. I mean, the Alamo's a great story, but we all know how it ended.
Yes. I hope we do. You're a teacher. I hope we're doing a good enough job.
And so I just don't see why. Again, what I am pleased with is the drive. And I think Coach Peacock did a fantastic job coordinating that drive to go take the win.
It made me really happy.
And it was playbook perfect, not play calls. Game management, execution, mixing the run and the pass, getting the ball in such and such's hands at the right time. And then I thought it was a brilliant call by head coach Peacock to kick with 5 seconds so that in case there was any type of muff, snap, or anything was bad, we were going to race down, call timeout, and kick the game winner with 1 second to go.
I was very proud of Gage, and I'm crediting him for this. Maybe it just was happenstance, but it looked like he was heading out of bounds and it had enough situational awareness to go down inbounds.
I mean, I don't know. I didn't talk to Gage. And there could have been a variety of things going through his head. He could have been just wanting to avoid contact for various reasons. I don't know.
Well, back in some of the most uncomfortable Bearcat breakfasts ever when I used to ask these questions to Coach David, and it used to really bug me how I didn't feel like a lot of times we had situational. I didn't question whether the coaches did, but the players didn't have situational awareness. Him staying in bounds made me happy for whatever reason he did, and I want to believe that he knew that he plays a lot of Madden, and by golly, he looked at the clock and he's like, I'm going to get over there, but I'm not going to go out of bounds. I'm not going to do Ponder a favor.
Yeah. And, you look back over that drive, and, of course, Gage, I mean, gosh, he had a warrior kind of night.
He had the kind of night that I like.
And
he had 22 carries for 128 yards.
I thought the guy that we don't talk about enough, Aston Kirby, I think
number 8.
Yeah, number 8, anonymous number 8.
Yeah.
I thought he and Crew had a fantastic night catching the ball.
Yeah, and they complement each other. I told number 8 that his night is, I believe, due to what Crew does and what he does for Crew as far as making those guys, they have to pick their poison.
Yeah, and Crew, on one of his touchdowns, he called his shot, said, hey, if y'all run this, I'm going to score. Boom, scored. And so I think you're starting to see a maturation process by some of the younger players, and I think some of the older hats like Wyatt and Aston are just they just keep on producing. And that's why we talk about them, because they produce, and they're doing a great job for us. Defensively, people are going to say how awful the defense did.
I disagree with that.
Ponder's offense creates a lot of problems for a defense.
Well, we're going to get into it later. I don't think they did awful at all. I mean, we had 6 sacks. That was more than we had for the season up to that point.
Yeah, I mean, Wyatt made a huge play with the chase down strip of number 2. And the takeaway there, I mean,
we're going to get to all that. And if you guys haven't figured out already listening, this one's going to be a long one. But we got a lot to talk about.
That is true.
Let's take a break. And then when we come back, let's get into like we already kind of dipped into, the macro of the game. What that game meant statistically.
Okay.
Are you looking to build that dream home or barndo? CS Designs offers a complete range of design services. CS Designs products range from general drawing services to commercial and residential blueprints, as well as 3D renderings and virtual reality walkthroughs. Let Cole Stewart and the CS Design team design you a beautiful progressive home or building that translates your ideas into an outstanding reality. Visit their website at csdesignstx.com or give them a call at 940-365-4048.
All right, thank you to CS Designs. Now let's take a look at the macro. What are you gonna hit me with here?
Well, this game, as you kind of already alluded to, it got a lot of notice. I'm not gonna say statewide. Let's say area-wide, because a lot of people predicted that it would be a wild game with a lot of crazy numbers, and it turned out to be. I don't know. If sorry, as I'm fumbling here on the computer, I don't know that I have the total yards. I didn't add all of that up, but we'll go over just what we had. Yeah, I mean, just what we had on off. And we had 368 yards of passing and 216 yards of rushing. And then, you go down to what Ponder had, and you're the mathematician, so you could be adding this up while I'm saying this, but Ponder had 460 yards of passing and then 171 yards of rushing. It's a lot going on. And then finally got it pulled up here. Just for the season, that was our season high in rushing. Gage had 128 yards. Our season high in passing of 368. Season high in touchdown passes of 6. Our longest TD pass of the season of 85. Our leading receptions, meaning one receiver, at 11. TD receptions, 4. Longest TD reception, like I said, 85. Most all-purpose yards by a player for the year, 236. Most field goals in a game, 3. Longest field goal in the game, 42. That's just for our season superlatives. That's a lot there.
It is a lot, but I think what that means is we need to play Ponder's defense every week.
And that was an all-time, as in ever, for Bearcats, highest point total.
Cumulative, right?
Cumulative of 113.
Both teams.
And then also, that is all-time the highest.
It can't be 113.
Did I add it wrong?
50 plus 53 is 103.
Wasn't it 58-55?
I don't know.
It was 58-55.
58-55. Then there you go.
Good Lord.
It's been a week.
Okay, and then
that game's dead and over with. You know how this works.
It's the bye week. So it's just no different than the other week.
This is not the bye week. This is Boyd week.
I know, but we talk about the game. This is no different than every other week.
I've moved on, man. I don't remember the score.
This is the highest point total or score that an opponent of ours in the history of the Bearcats has ever had and lost.
Great.
So there's another record. Jimmy, keep going. You
no
want more?
Please enlighten us all.
Well, I think it was interesting.
Well, I don't even remember the score, so keep enlightening me.
Yes, 58-55. We had 200-yard receivers.
Okay.
And then let's see, what was something else that we had? Threw an interception. It's the first time we thrown one. Second time we've thrown one all year, and that was I felt bad. That wasn't It's one of those you hate to give them in the statistical category.
It wasn't a good interception. Not that there's a good one, but I mean it was all kinds of messed up.
And then, like I said, we had 6 sacks. And I've never found a game that we had 6 sacks. I had found a game we had 5, but it's the first time I'd ever had a game that we had 6. And then I don't remember the last time, if ever, we've kicked 3 field goals.
I mean, the only thing I can default to is, I mean, we've had good kickers. Ryan Menard would be very upset if we did not mention his kicker, who currently I cannot remember the name of.
We got to mention the Myers, too.
I was about to say, I default to the Myers.
Yeah.
So I think you'd have to look back at some of those.
Yeah, I don't know.
Sorry, Ryan. And this is no 2009 disrespect. Just I don't remember the name of your kicker.
Yeah, and then quickly on season highs, kind of the same thing. 42 rushes, which is a season high for us. 216 yards rushing. Like I said, I'm speaking as a team. 368 passing, back to 6 TDs. 20.4 yards per pass. That's the season high. 690 on all-purpose yards, and highest punting average of the year as well at 40. The wind helped.
I do believe that, per the Denton Record Chronicle, we were somewhere over 1,300 total yards between both teams.
Okay. And we also had 2 fumble recoveries, which is season high.
And one of them was huge.
Yes, it was. So now, speaking of that, let's get into the...
let's just talk about the game and the importance of the game, period.
Okay, we want to go macro game first, then micro.
We're going to go huge macro in the sense that was basically a playoff game.
Yeah, we had said last week that it's the playoffs.
And so we won.
Not sure what the score was.
Like I said, we were +3. That's what I do know.
Yeah.
Thank you, Elias. That kept us alive in the playoff race. And, over the course of the bye week and over the course of the last few games,
Which is part of the reason we wanted to wait till after the bye to add this one more week to kind of paint a better playoff picture.
It's getting more clear at the top and staying murky as ever at the bottom.
Yes, but...
because we know... Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I was going to say, Ponder losing... Us beating Ponder, and then Ponder, for those of you who don't know, got beat by Boyd this past weekend.
They're basically done.
They're out of the playoffs. So now it's between Boyd, Pilot Point, and Peaster, who, fortunately for us, we still have to play both of them. So we're really driving our own bus.
We are firmly in control
of our destiny.
Yes. Paradise, if they were to get upset by Boyd or Peaster, which...
I think Paradise already played Boyd.
Okay, and that was a win. If they did.
Yeah, they beat them. I think it was the week that we played Whitesboro.
Okay, so that puts... Paradise has to beat Peaster. If Paradise does not beat Peaster, things get murkier.
Not if we beat Peaster, right? Or no, it's still a 3-way tie. I'm sorry.
Yes, I think you're right.
So, speaking of that,
then it would turn into positive points.
That's what I was going to get at. So, is someone watching the Texas football app on the sideline, and I think in the past that had been you, and then looking at our score and...
No, we're just trying to win.
I know, but...
if it's by 3,
I know we haven't had a blowout this year, but I'm just saying, if that was the case, you have to start looking at... Isn't that weird when it gets down to where it's like, oh, wow, we have to beat this team by so-and-so points?
Yeah, and, I've been there and done that in a previous stop, and it is ultra stressful.
But I guess that's the only way to break a 3-way tie.
Yeah, it's the positive points between those 3 teams in the games that they are.
Well, I'm looking at the Pilot Point Bearcat guide that we put out every Friday. Everyone should check that out. And Paradise, I'm finding where they played Boyd because I know they did.
All right, the big game is going to be Week 11, which is going to be the last week of the season where it's Peaster versus Boyd. That would be the last remaining game that has a whole lot of influence over what we do.
Yeah, Boyd and Paradise played the same week we played Ponder.
Yep.
So look at that score. Tell me what it was. I think it was the Battle of Wise County.
What were we looking for? Boyd Paradise?
Boyd Paradise on October 7th.
I want to think it was like 33-13 Paradise wins, so they went plus 15.
Okay.
Which that's inconsequential to anything unless Paradise, it'll just fix everything if we just win.
Wasn't it for the Raiders? Wasn't it Al Davis just win,
baby?
Just
win, baby. That's it.
all we got to do.
Well, and the top has been pretty well clarified with the Brock Whitesboro game.
Yes.
Those two had pulled away kind of from everybody else in the district, just in the court of public opinion of being the 2 best teams in the district.
Even though Paradise is undefeated.
Yes. And that's it's not saying anything negative about Paradise.
Unless you live in Paradise, then I think you take it as a shot.
That's okay. I I'm okay with that. I will. Has Paradise played Whitesboro? No, they're after. Paradise is next week for Whitesboro.
Paradise's schedule is Whitesboro on the 28th, and then they're off on November 4th.
So have they already played
They play
Brock?
Ponder the 21st, and then has Paradise played Brock? I believe they have.
So they are not undefeated.
No, they are undefeated. Then when do they play Brock?
Not the last game.
Paradise at Brock, October 28th.
Okay.
No, that's Whitesboro. I don't know. Sorry, people. I
We're-
can hardly pay
we're-
attention to Pilot Point.
We're really prepared for this. In any case, Brock, Whitesboro, Paradise is the current top 3
I think
pecking
they play
order.
them on the 21st because on the guide schedule that I just told everybody to go look at, I have Paradise playing Ponder twice, and I know that's not possible. And I see on the 23rd it has a score by it, so I'm going to go ahead and say it happens the 21st. So it would be this weekend.
Okay. Brock is the undefeated in district currently. Whitesboro's at 1 loss. And then Paradise might or might not be undefeated. We're unsure.
Yeah, they are undefeated, and they are the district leader right now.
So I think they will come back down to earth a little bit once they have Whitesboro and Brock. And so that leaves us, fighting for 4th. And
But if we win out,
we win
and
out.
I'm not talking about
And this is we understand there is a Brock game, the last game of the season. It'll be senior night at Massey Stadium. I'm not saying that we cannot beat Brock. We will be picked to lose against Brock, and if we win, it would be considered an upset.
Yes, and when I say win out, I mean win out by the teams that we're battling with, meaning Peaster
And Boyd.
Beat those two, we're in. Then if we beat Brock, we're just determining our seeding. We're not determining.
Yeah, it might get us out of 3rd, possibly. But it would actually put us in a head-to-head with Paradise, and we would lose that, or tie with Paradise, and we'd lose that on the head-to-head.
But if the playoffs were today, we are sitting in 4th, and we would play a good old friend of ours, Jim Ned. So we would be playing.
Perfect. Love seeing Coach Fanning.
Yeah.
So, you look at that game, and it was a huge game for the Bearcats because after all the hard work and after all the effort that we've been talking about and all the moral victories, we finally got a scoreboard victory.
Yeah, and it was really like a playoff game because everything that we just pointed to us, it all applied to Ponder. They needed to win that game too.
Yeah, they did.
You could tell at the end.
Yes.
They thought the same. They felt the same way.
There were very dramatic scenes of dejection coming from the Lions.
Yeah, just like the last time we played there. It was very similar.
Yeah. Jay Cox.
Yeah. Big play Jay.
Big play Jay with the win. But I just think that if we fast forward to it's currently Tuesday, so if we fast forward 3 days from now to homecoming night, it's back to the playoffs again. Playoffs in October at Massey Stadium. We got to beat the Boyd Yellow Jackets, and that is always a tough task. And it doesn't matter of the talent level; it's just good old-fashioned hate.
I know it's so cliche to say to throw out the records, but it really is.
It is just good old-fashioned hate.
Yeah.
And I like Coach Ritchie. I do. He's a good guy. He's a Boyd graduate that's at the helm over there. Their personal foul problems continue. Their mouthiness, their chippiness, all of that continues. I don't know if it's just something in the water. Thankfully, they've disabled Friday night chat, so we don't have to listen to the idiocracy on there that comes from both
towns. Is that
towns.
what they did? I thought that I was having some kind of error, so that's been disabled.
It has been disabled.
That's the best move that could have ever happened.
I totally wholeheartedly agree because that is a waste of
It's just
something.
not good to bash everybody. That's all that thing is bashes everybody.
You take what happened in between Graham and Wichita Falls Hershey, and obviously the comments that were made there that set it all off.
I have no idea.
There were racially insensitive comments made via the chat, and I'm thinking,
it took that long?
It took that long?
That had happened before that they never noticed.
I just think we didn't have a 20-person brawl breakout that the game got suspended and people had to forfeit and whatnot. But I'm glad it's gone. because it saves both towns from some embarrassment this week. Because while I do believe that the Boyd folks are instigators of such things, we sure respond very well. So I'm glad that's gone.
Yeah, that's amazing. Because I was a victim. They didn't bash me, but it wasn't fun.
No, that was our own game chat.
No. I'm talking about, 2 years ago, and the thing is, you could sign up and be anonymous. You didn't even put your name on that.
Yeah.
But no, they bashed number 8 quite a bit 2 years ago for his learning on the job training for defensive back.
Yeah, and it was a rough go for Aston.
Yeah.
But I'm like you. I hate that you go with the throw the records out the window, but it's so true. From the homecoming game that we had against them, what was that, 3 or 4 years ago, where it turned into a mud bowl, which that can't happen anymore.
Well, the chat room's gone, but they named that in Boyd the massacre at Massey.
Yes.
That's what that was. But it's funny how bad things turn out good. That is the single event that you can point at that's most likely led to us getting turf. So if we had to sacrifice that,
the miracle at Massey now.
Yes, it's become the miracle, because thank you, Boyd, and the massacre at Massey, because you got us turf.
Yeah, but I think what you're going to see is it's going to be similar to Ponder in the sense of the urgency by both teams. It's going to be different from Ponder in the sense that everything's going to be a lot more traditional. They run an offense that it's not the exact same as ours, but it's comparable to ours as far as the look of it. It's gonna look very similar.
To interrupt though, talking about that head-to-head, what would you think with all the hate and the massacre and whatnot? What would you say of the last 10? What do you think the split is?
3-7.
It is. We're 7-3. You would think it's more even than that.
Yeah, I think it's going to be, and I know that you have the massacre at Massey.
That's 20-14.
And then we're 2-0 after that.
Yeah, 52-14 and 54-29.
And then I think when you get back to 9-10 on that list, one of them is going to be a playoff loss.
Two of the games are neutral site games. I didn't break it down as to which ones those were, but I think it was 08 and 09. And that was one Ryan, I'm sure, will talk about on the cast. That was a high-scoring game. That's 59-42.
Yeah. Possibly the second high-scoring game in Bearcat history.
I don't think it is, but I navigated away from that page, but I can go back to it.
113 and 111. That means there has to be a 112 in between.
Oh, man, no, you are correct. 2009.
So, yeah, it'll be exciting. I'm excited for our kids just because at times I think people have doubted how long we'd be playing meaningful football games. I think that's a fair assumption.
I think that everybody, if they're honest, and I'm including
I think
everybody, question that at some time in their mind.
Yeah. I'm sure everybody has thought at some point that the Bearcats...
Because it's a knee-jerk world we live in.
Yeah.
You're either lowest of the low or you're the highest of the high.
So I am just excited that the Cats are playing a meaningful football game when people might have thought that they weren't going to. Or not might have, probably thought they weren't going to.
At some point.
Yeah. And so... I tell you what,
you're a hater.
It will. No,
just
some of it's
natural.
Yeah, it's natural. It's part of being a fan.
Like OSU right now. Sorry, Oklahoma State. I'm sure all you guys now are thinking you're never going to win another game.
I typically hate Baylor after they lose. And I'm like, why am I a Baylor fan?
Yeah.
It's knee jerk.
Yeah.
And I get it. But
Alabama fans right now are thinking they're never going to win another game.
Ever. Never going to. Saban feels that way for sure.
Yeah.
But I just we never pick that we're going to win. We've done a really good job of staying out of prognosticating on this podcast. I think our kids are going to be ready, and I think we're going to have a great crowd at homecoming. And I highly encourage, while I love the broadcast and I think it's awesome, I think it's a great tool.
Go to the game and watch it on Saturday.
Turn YouTube off, turn your television off, get your butt out of your seat, and go to Massey Stadium and cheer on the Cats. That's what we need.
But I'll tell you what's fun, because I do it myself. Listen to the game while you're at it.
Absolutely. Just put it on YouTube, put your AirPods in or whatever, and listen while you're there. But we need butts in the seats. And those kids need to look up there, and they need to see all the orange and black in the stands. They need to see it on the fence row 2-3 deep like the old days that everybody always complains that they want back. But in order for the old days to come back, if people lined up on the fence, that means you have to actually go to the game and support the Cats.
And I haven't even brought this up this year. For whatever reason, we've changed the way the visiting teams come into the stadium. We bring them in the old way now through the crowd.
I've done that.
Why is the crowd, and I guess because so much time's passed, it needs to be like the old days to where the crowd lines up in basically a reverse victory line.
Yeah.
And,
that is one of the most...
those kids know when they're walking through that you're walking into Massey Stadium.
I have made that walk of shame if you're me, because I got called a effing traitor. I got called everything.
Yeah.
But
that's the way it used to be, because they used to get dressed in the high school, and they would walk from the high school, and the fans would just, like I say, basically do a reverse.
It's uncomfortable.
A reverse, what do you call it? Where it come out. Do you remember how everybody, the victory line?
Yeah, it's victory line.
Well, let's call this they do a hate line. And just let everybody know that, hey, you're at Massey Stadium. I mean, everyone used to talk about that. And now, for whatever reason, all the teams are coming through again, but Pilot Point isn't doing their part. But you know what? Being homecoming, you're going to have a lot of people there that remember that's what you're supposed to do.
Well, we're calling everybody out.
Now, if we're not saying go over there and do anything stupid.
Don't spit on them.
Don't spit on them, and don't say anything that you're going to regret.
Just let them know.
Just
let them know where they are.
Boo. Let's just say boo and groan.
Hey,
and then
let's
leave it at
just
that.
let them know where they are.
Don't say Bearcat Insider said. We're just saying, we want the old style. Everybody's like, let's do like the old days. That was one of the most intimidating things that Pilot Point had.
The best thing to do is not be anti-Boyd. The best thing to do is be pro-Bearcat.
Exactly.
You don't have to be anti-Boyd. Just be pro-Bearcat.
Yeah. So let's get that going again.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Even though we are fans of the broadcast, and I feel that, everybody involved with the broadcast does a fantastic job. This is the week that you turn the broadcast off and get your butt to Massey Stadium.
I agree.
So
let's take another break.
Oh, man.
CS Designs is getting them a lot this time. And then let's go over these scores, because this is going to take a while.
Let's do it.
Are you looking to build that dream home or barn-dough? CS Designs offers a complete range of design services. CS Designs products range from general drawing services to commercial and residential blueprints, as well as 3D renderings and virtual reality walkthroughs. Let Cole Stewart and the CS Design team design you a beautiful progressive home or building that translates your ideas into an outstanding reality. Visit their website at csdesignstx.com or give them a call at 940-365-4048. All right, welcome back, everybody. Like we said, we're going to go a little while on this one, so let's get going with these scores. So to start off, Colin Lynch with the 56-yard run.
That would, yeah. And Gage was unavailable. In goes Colin, back to being a running back. He has made the move to. He's like a positionless player. He goes where we need him.
He's a tweener.
Yeah, and gosh, talk about a hole.
It's huge.
Eddie Bautista, I'm going to give credit for this because number 99 gets a lot of pub for Ponder about
He's a big guy. I noticed in the pictures
how great he is, and this was the first occasion of him absolutely getting his ass whipped. Eddie just blocked down on him and moved him, and that was the hole. And Colin saw it, shot down the middle, and then that was that.
And
I'll go ahead and ruin it for everybody else. The second one He ended up getting a personal foul because Ryan Riney ran his butt from the near hash all the way to their sideline, planted him on their sideline. I mean, just straight pancaked him, and the kid threw a punch.
I believe it was 99 on our. I'm going to the very last score now.
Sure.
If you watch the video, I thought I knew the rules, but I know I'm also not a ref. He runs and puts his foot on one of his own players and jumps.
Can't do that.
I didn't think you could,
Yeah.
but the flag didn't come out. But that was odd because
Shocking.
the refs were so
That crew was really good.
Watch the video of the onside kick. But anyway, back to Colin Lynch. Let's not take it away from him.
Yeah, absolutely.
I guess it was unexpected. You don't call that play thinking we're going to take it 56 yards, right? That wasn't a touchdown play.
No.
Okay.
That's typically not your touchdown play,
I didn't
but I'll
think
take
so.
it.
Yeah, it's a touchdown play for like Brock sometimes. Cash Jones seemed to make it always be a touchdown play for him.
At Georgia,
Yeah.
it was a touchdown play for Cash Jones this past
Yeah,
weekend.
you can find that on Twitter. Shout out to Brock.
Yeah, but no, Colin did a fantastic job. You know, he trusted that the hole was going to be there, and the lineman opened it up, and the rest is history.
Well, then you think that's exciting, and then we get the ball back for our next possession, and boom, 85 yards. Crew Chandler
just down the sideline, great blocking.
Wide open.
You know, White had time.
Yeah.
And found the open receiver, and life's good.
Straight drop back for Wyatt.
Wheel
Smith.
route.
He's going to throw it, and he has
Go get
Crew
it.
Chandler caught.
Let's go, Crew.
It's a race. Crew Chandler shouldn't be caught. 30, 20, 10, 5, touchdown. Another West Heitzman Insurance Service big play. 85 yards.
Two
from
live
Wyatt
crew,
Smith
baby.
and Crew Chandler. And, hey, we got a passing game of our own.
I would have so dropped that ball like high school chance if I could have been open. There was way too much time to think about that.
That's the bad thing. Is when you're that wide open, those are the hardest balls to catch.
I would have so dropped that and the groans.
Well, I'm glad it was Crew and not you.
Yeah, I do hate those of you that have watched the cast. Those 2 touchdowns, we were having a little technical difficulties, which were my fault, Chance's fault. I'll take the blame for that. And we just come back on the air right there at the end of Colin's score, and then it wasn't perfect for Cruz, but then we picked up steam after that.
All right.
So one more play for the first quarter that I want to talk about, and I'm going to be a little critical. It's more fun to be critical of you guys when we win because you're not as angry, and a bye week helps too. Why did we punt in the first quarter when had we eaten up about 4 seconds? And I don't have it, but it wasn't more than 10. We could have ran the clock out in the first quarter and punted with the wind. Because you know I'm a TOP guy. I'm a clock guy.
All that I'm willing to say is that we had a not very happy head coach with the way that all went down.
Okay, so I mean, you guys, I guess you're saying that sometimes you guys make mistakes and you're owning it.
Yeah, if
someone
you,
is.
When you look at it in the big picture, it was a clock mismanagement.
Okay.
Coach Kyle Peacock was not very pleased with that at all.
Okay, so I was making sure. I thought you were going to tell me that I don't coach and don't understand. So
No.
I actually get to chalk something up.
With as windy as it was, that's not ideal. It's obviously survivable, but it was not how you draw it up or how you want it to go.
Now that does make me want to say, and they deserve me saying this because I feel like I have bashed. It's harsh. I've questioned special teams for 6 weeks in a row.
Yes.
Fantastic job this week by the special teams in every aspect. Because they didn't get to make that punt, I can't even put that on them. So I'm sure you as coaches will find something. I know we kicked the ball out of bounds once or twice, but
it wasn't a perfect job. Special
it's
teams
as close
wide,
to perfect as we've been all year.
but it was greatly improved, and it was very good.
3 field goals, a game winner, 55-yard punt, an onside kick return.
Yeah,
is fantastic.
Absolutely.
All right, now we're in the second quarter. Next touchdowns, 39-yard pass, number.
The snap, straight drop back for Wyatt Smith. Steps up
Who
into a
gets there?
pocket, throws
Oh,
it
we're going
deep.
deep.
Has Aston Kirby. Aston Kirby runs underneath it.
Yes,
Throws a printing touchdown.
You know, when we looked at it and when we were studying up, we thought that we'd have a little bit of success down the middle of the field. And over the course of the season, Crew and 8 have done a good job of making plays over the middle of the field. And so, it was a play call where Wyatt had two really good options, and I'm glad he chose the option that he chose because it ended up being a touchdown ball. But it was a great play, great throw, great catch. Life's good.
All right, moving on. Next touchdown, Crew Chandler, 33-yard pass from Wyatt Smith.
Snap, and they're bringing some pressure. Snap, he's going to step underneath and look downfield. Crew Chandler brings it down on that 4th and 9. West Heitzman Insurance Service, big play for another Pellsville Printing touchdown. We have big plays of our own. 34-yard touchdown from Wyatt Smith to Crew Chandler.
It's where Crew called his own shot.
And it was very similar to the one before, just cutting the other way.
Yeah, it was just like I said, Crew called a shot. He thought he saw something, and that's unusual for Crew. That's not something he does. That's not him as a kid to say, "Hey, give me the ball. Hey, I want this. Hey, So when he says that, you have to give it a little bit of credibility.
It's past the point to where it's so obvious to him. It's like, hey guys, I guess you have to notice.
Yeah.
He's like Ocho Cinco that's saying, give me the ball every play regardless.
Yeah, no, and so it was a great job by Crew of understanding.
It's another shot at me being really old when I used Ocho Cinco.
You just use Ocho Cinco, and that's okay.
Okay, sorry, go ahead.
It's a Chad Johnson receiver for the Bengals for those who
was that 15 years ago?
it's a while. But no, Crew did a fantastic job, and of course Wyatt. I think we take Wyatt for granted sometimes. Delivered a great throw.
Then the next big play of the second quarter is not a touchdown at all. We kick it to Ponder.
Yeah.
And then I think they're on about the 15. No, they may have been 15 and had a penalty. Anyway, they're inside the 10.
They're inside the 10, and I think this is following the 15-minute debacle of Coach Cooper from Ponder arguing with the referees.
I'm glad you brought that up. That was on my notes, and I forgot.
I'm not going to steal your thunder, so go ahead.
Well, you go ahead. You can steal my thunder. We've talked about it.
That provided us with a much-needed about 10-minute rest break.
Correct.
Had he not done that, I don't think the next series of events that Wyatt with the chase down, Wyatt probably doesn't have enough oxygen to chase the kid down.
Yeah, let me back that up. That happened before Crew's touchdown, and Crew's touchdown was on a 4th down and quite a bit of distance.
So there's about a 3-play difference.
Yeah, and Coach Cooper, that's his name, I think you said 10. I think it's closer to 15 minutes, but 10 to 15 minutes. He bogged the game down.
It was awkward.
To argue over 5 yards, and what you're saying is most all our kids play two ways, for those of you that don't know. He gave our kids in the halfway point of the second quarter, he took away his own advantage. The whole gimmick with that offense is keep them running, keep them tired, don't let them substitute, keep them exhausted.
No, we got like a halftime.
Yeah, let's let these kids recoup, which...
Come on, defense, make another stand here.
Rare run, Nazard in the backfield, and he's
got some room.
And the Bearcats are going to have to. Look at
come on, Gage.
Gage is turning it on. But blows a tire.
Yeah, he didn't blow a tire.
Wyatt Smith's going to
bring him down.
Oh, Wyatt Smith
got the ball.
Wyatt Smith took the ball from him at the 15.
What a play, Wyatt.
Goodness gracious, he just ripped it right out.
I agree with you. This completely played into this Wyatt play. So Ponder hands off the ball. Kid breaks it down the center, kind of like Collins' touchdown play, but from further out. He's gone. And then it's like a horse race. Here's Wyatt just stalking him, just not blowing the doors off anybody like Gage did, but then he ran out of steam. But Gage came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I thought, man, this is going to be amazing.
But I think there's multiple facets to this. We not making fun or poking fun at Gage like he did something wrong. I mean, he burst into the picture, and then he's tired. His legs just kind of gave out.
Yeah,
that's completely understandable. But I think it caused the kid to panic a little bit.
I think it did too. It made him veer, then made stalking Wyatt get closer. And then 8 was there too, and you could tell he was. I even asked him. You could tell his legs must have waited because he's just. But anyway, Wyatt catches the guy in about the 7.
Yeah,
which we're just thrilled that he's going to tackle the dude.
I was just happy that we were going to make him snap the ball again.
Correct, which they probably would have scored. Nothing against not picking on our defense. It's just that's the way the game.
Percentages say.
But no, Wyatt rips the ball out of the guy's hands.
Just takes it from him like he's a child.
which was the first of probably 4 big plays of the game, in my opinion. That was a game-changing. We lose the game if he doesn't do that.
I wholeheartedly agree. I don't think. I think it changes that changes everything if Wyatt doesn't make that play. In which I don't know if we convert that into points. I can't remember.
No, but we kept them from converting it into points.
So it was a -7 play, not a +7 play.
Correct.
So, and that's huge. And I think that's the embodiment of what we're trying to build. He didn't quit. He didn't mail it in. He didn't say, oh, that kid is probably going to go to state in the 300-meter hurdles, which the kid is.
Yeah.
He's probably going to go to state in the 300-meter hurdles.
But he
never just admitted defeat. He said, I'm going to take a good angle. I'm going to put my head down, and I'm going to just go.
But watch the clip. Wyatt's the one that caught him and got the ball. Every one of our kids is chasing that guy
No, there's
down.
4 or 5 kids that end up in the frame, which means that they didn't see the guy break and just say, "Meh." And
Tough break.
if Wyatt would have been able to keep his feet and not get tripped up by the kid, he would have had a convoy of blockers immediately by him. Now, I don't know if any of them could have ran the 90 yards back the other
they
way
couldn't breathe
because they were done.
Yeah.
But it would have been exciting.
Yeah.
But no, it was a heck of a play by a kid that is Wyatt Smith.
We can't prove it, but I do believe that Coach Cooper completely contributed to us having the energy to run that kid
Absolutely. I mean, there's no way that it's mind-boggling.
down. For 5 yards.
Yeah.
That we scored on the very next play anyway.
Yeah.
So next score in the third quarter, which
Well, let's talk about the decision by Coach Kyle Peacock to kick the onside kick.
my bad.
Yeah, that wind is going to be. Oh, look
Surprise
at this!
onside.
Cut.
And Elias Leos, he had it. Did he
had
get it?
Man, he took a hit.
Who come up with it there?
The officials. Oh, he
Pilot
pointed
Point has
pointing
the
their
ball.
way.
It's going the wrong way. A Pilot Point recovers the
Let's
surprise
go.
onside. I thought they did. I thought
Hey,
Elias Leos got
Special
it.
teams comes through for it.
Yeah, well, I don't want to say. I was going to say I saw something suspicious, but I don't want to point that out. But
Please don't.
I could feel like something was happening, and then, man, what a fantastic. This is the second big play of the night right after Wyatt had just made that one. We haven't tried an onside kick all year.
It might have been like 3 years. Outside of like a emergency onside at the end of a game where everybody expects it.
Yeah.
This is the first just surprise that I can think of in forever.
And it was the perfect kick. Elias takes a vicious hit, and then Kale comes up with it. It was perfect. You can watch the video on our social media. The only person that wasn't impressed was the referee who was saying that it was Ponder's ball.
Yeah, which was inexplicably actually impossible that they could have even recovered it.
Yeah. And we got it right at the 10-yard mark. I mean, it's exactly like y'all draw it up.
Yeah, no, it was great execution by the kids, but it was a great decision by Kyle, Coach Peacock, to
We stole a possession.
stole a possession in a
Again, it doesn't happen. We don't win the game.
yeah.
Because on that, which where I was headed, and I'm glad you stopped me, on that possession, we go down and kick who knew at the time, a 28-yard field goal, how important that really was.
Teed up at the 18, which is going to make it a 28-yard field goal on the right hash for the left-footed kicker. Snap is a bit high, but it's put down. The kick is up. It is high. It is going to be good.
Well, and I think you go back to game management and the macro of the game. I think hats off to Kyle for not getting obsessed with the fact that the offense of Ponder was going to put up points, but saying we have to take the points. We have to get the 3 points. If we can get 3 points, we need to take the 3 and not try to go for it to get touchdowns.
Some would argue that you should try to get the touchdown there, but no, I'm with you. It's just like going for 2.
Yeah.
And when you don't get it, and then you're like, oh, well, we're chasing points, and the other people are like, well, you just should kick the one every time and you don't chase. kick. That three was huge.
Well, and especially when you're adding possessions. When you're getting bonus possessions, you need to make them count for something. They can't be empty.
Yeah.
Now, I think Wyatt's was empty because of a time. I just don't think we had enough time to make anything happen. I can't remember exactly, but there was an extenuating circumstance. The biggest thing about him was the -7 for them, but it's a huge job. All right, so 28-yard field goal.
Yeah, and so it's a 31 Pilot Point. I hate saying it backwards. Ponder 35, Pilot Point 31 at that point. Next touchdown was number 8, 10-yard pass from Wyatt.
We're going to throw a post, and Ashton Kirby's going to catch it for a Pelzel printing touchdown.
Just across the middle of the field. Again, we thought that it was open. That was kind of the game plan going in. We felt that there were some opportunities in the middle, and they executed it perfectly with a great call from Coach Keith Peacock, and they executed it.
I thought the line did a great job on that one. I was standing by the uprights for that particular play, and I don't know what makes us determine when we cut everybody and when we don't, but that particular play we cut everybody, and Wyatt was just standing there, and the whole field was open. There was no one standing in front of him.
No, they did a great job. It was a great play all the way around.
Yeah. Next one after that would be number 8, 53-yard TD from Wyatt Smith.
Low snap, but it's fielded, and it's a curl route. Kirby's going to catch it at the Ponder 40. Now break a tackle, and he's going to try to stiff arm a man, get out across the 35, 30.
Outrun him.
It's a race in the end zone. 10, 5. He stays in and keeps his feet. Touchdown, Ashton Kirby. Huge play there.
That was a touchdown play. We knew it whenever we called it. It was based
Very
off.
similar to the Paradise play.
Yep. Yeah, we knew it. And it was great execution by both kids. And the line. I mean, anytime that I say it's a great execution by Wyatt and Aston, Wyatt was not running around like chicken with his head cut off. The line gave him time. So they're included.
When time is there, good things happen.
Yep.
So we're off to the fourth quarter. Was it a decision at the coin flip? Because it's funny how these things work out. Was the wind a factor in y'all deciding how you wanted?
Yes.
Or did we just end up with the wind in the fourth?
No,
dumb luck?
we ensured that we were going to have the wind at our back in the fourth quarter. Because if you survive the third quarter of them with the wind at their back, and it's a close game, you feel really good about it going.
Well, funny how that works out, because here we are. It's fourth quarter. We have that wind at our back, and Elias kicks now another huge play of the game. They just they keep getting more intense as we go, but a 42-yard field goal.
Snap is good. The hold is good. The kick
Great
is
kick.
up. It looks far enough. It is good. 42 yards to
with room to spare.
Yeah, I mean, we're blessed to have a very good kicker. After, I guess there was the early game, not early as in early last year, the earlier game, Paradise, I do believe, where he missed 2.
No, it wasn't Paradise. It was earlier in the season. I think it was Farmersville.
But he's atoned for those.
Oh, yeah. I've already forgotten all about them.
Yeah.
Kickers are important. The Bearcats to the north, not to get sidetracked, when watching that game, I think them not having a kicker severely affects their options in ways that, had they played against Brock again and had Elias playing for Bearcats of the North, that might have been different. So Elias hits the 42-yarder. It's 48-48. Ponder goes down and scores. They're up 55-48. And then here we go. It's number 8, 39-yard pass from Wyatt Smith. And this is the one down the right sidelines.
He's going to step up. He's going to throw a deep ball.
got a
Has a
man.
man. Is that the man?
That
That's
is.
the man. Ashton Kirby
Florida
strolls in for his 4th receiving touchdown of the night. 39 yards, and he's coming up on 200.
Yeah, and again, just a great play all around. Good offensive play.
I don't know what the move is, but on that one, I'm calling it the dead leg for lack of a better term, but he kind of runs out about 7 to 10 yards, and it's like his right leg's asleep, like when I watch TV too long, and then the corner takes a step up, and then
It's
he's
just a genetic Kirby thing.
yeah, exactly. And then the video of that one I enjoy, because the minute the ball leaves Wyatt's hands, wrangle on y'all's sidelines.
Touchdown.
Gives the touchdown. I mean, the ball left.
Yeah, when
left
you know,
the
you
Lions'
know.
hands. See, and that's why, again, the only thing we have in common is the name, because that's one I would have dropped as well, because he was pretty open.
Yeah, no, and that was just a great job all the way around. Good play call, good execution.
And then we covered it earlier. We get the ball, burn up anywhere from, I'd say, 4 to 5 minutes. We go down and clutch. Everything a kicker dreams of, and I bet everything a coach dreads. It all comes down to Elias to
He was
kick the game winner.
very, very worried they were about to ice him.
Really?
And Coach Kyle Peacock assured him they've used all their timeouts. So he was fine after that. He's like, oh, okay, cool. Let's just go kick this thing and get it over with.
Elias Leos has it teed up right in the center of the field, just outside the 20, so it's going to be a 30-yard field goal. The snap, the hold, the kick is up. It's long enough. It is good. And there's, of course, 1 second left on the clock.
And it was a no-doubter.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't close to being blocked because the operation time was great. Wasn't close to being short. Wasn't one side or the other. It was about as dead on of a kick as you could have. And so, and I want to go back to one other thing is whenever we had an injury previously in the game, a key person on our extra point team was injured and unable to continue playing. We didn't realize it until we had scored that we needed somebody to step in and play guard.
Saw him do it.
And so we just yelled, we need one. And before we could even do anything, say anything, Tristan Zambrano was trucking off the sideline out there, and he lined up at left guard, little skinny.
Yeah, for those
Tristan
that don't
Zambrano.
know Tristan, let's explain. Let's give the vitals for Tristan, our left guard in the play.
5'10", 150, and that's generous.
Okay.
And he was lined up on number 99, who we've talked about as an impressive-looking football player.
Yes.
And he stones him. I mean, he at 99 didn't make it any further in the backfield than he did against anybody else. And so I just want to mention that. Hats off to Tristan Zambrano. Didn't flinch. Didn't question it. Didn't get scared. Didn't pee down his leg. He just got out there and did it.
Well, I wasn't there Thursday, but it's like you guys say. It takes all 11 people to do their job. And if one person doesn't do their job, it can cost you.
Well,
not that kick.
They all did their job, and that's why we escaped with the win.
Okay, so Travis had to get back to his real job, so you guys are stuck with me to go over stats. Wyatt, as we spoke about earlier, was 18 of 34 for 368 yards and 6 TDs. That 368 yards as well as the 6 TDs are both season highs for him, as well as his 118.6 QB rating. I think that's a season high as well. Going to rushing, Gage Anderson, 22 carries, 128 yards. Had a 39-yard run. I believe that's his longest run of the season. And then he broke 100 yards rushing. And I believe that's the second time this year for that. Although I'm not 100% certain, but that will be in the guide. Colin Lynch had 4 carries for 67 yards and a 57-yard TD. That 57-yard rush would have been his longest rush of the year as well. Receiving, number 8 had 11 receptions for 186 yards. Longest 54, 4 TDs. Crew Chandler, 6 receptions, 167 yards. Longest of 85, which is the season high for Wyatt as a touchdown pass, and obviously season high for Crew as well. Crew had 2 TDs. Then moving on down the list here, we're going to tackles. Colin Lynch had 14 total tackles, 12 solos, 2 assists. Puga was second with 8, had 4 solo, 4 assists, and then number 8 had 7 solos, 1 assist. Fourth was Kel Martin, 3 solos, 4 assists, 7 total tackles. Fifth was Crew Chandler, 4 solo, 2 assists for 6 total. The most impressive stats of the night is we had 6 total sacks, which is, like we had said earlier as well, a season high for sure. Out of those sacks, Junior Servin had 2 sacks, Cooper Locke had 1, Juan Dominguez had 1, Ryan Riney had 1, Kel Martin had 1. We had Wyatt, as we spoke about earlier, had a caused fumble and a fumble recovery. Colin Lynch had a fumble recovery. And then Elias Alejos has credit for a fumble recovery, but I think that's wrong. I think that should be Kel Martin and the onside kick. Going to have to talk to the stat department about that. Back to the Elias, though, he did have 9 kickoffs and 2 touchbacks, which is impressive and a good stat for him. Wyatt had a 55-yard punt, which is a season high as well. And then, as we know, Elias kicked 3 field goals, which is a season high. Kicked one of those was 42. That's a season high for him as well. And then that's about it for the Bearcat stats. Want you guys to know that homecoming is Friday. The pregame festivities start at 7. It's our intention to webcast those, but if they set it up someplace our camera can't reach, then keep in mind that's out of our control. So thank you guys for listening. Hope to see you in the house Friday night, and go Bearcats.